I couldn't think of a more appropriate music. So bless Matt Mulholland. He does some really great music nowadays, but he did those kind of shit posts with this recorder. But let's get to a really good topic, if it's okay. Let's change. Let's change frames here. Let's change slides, please. Next slide. Let's go with that. Let's get on topic here, if we dare get on topic. Now, we're going to look at some commercials, but that's not all we're going to do. This is a Memorial Day special. Let me just okay. So it's a Memorial Day special. Happy Memorial Day to everyone. We'll go over some commercials. I'll tell a funny story that involved a relative of mine who was in the war. I think either it was the Korean War or Vietnam. Might have been the Korean War, but it might have been Vietnam. I don't remember. But he's no longer with us in this world. But we're going to talk about stores that are not here anymore. Stores that are not here. So we're going to cover the stores in my area. You may have your own stories. But I'm going to supplement the stores that I used to see when I was a child with commercials. We'll just look at one commercial per store because the focus is not looking at retro commercials. It's about commercial plus commentary and from my experiences. So we're going to start with the first store that occurred before my time.
On this portable RCA 18-inch color TV, now only $249. For super buy-up prices on TVs, it's white front.
Nope, that's not a typo. Ask your grandpa. Ask your great-grandpa if he's still alive or your grandma. My mom talked about this store one time when we were going to Smart and Final, a store that used to. I used to still live on Eastern Avenue in Los Angeles. Now I've moved about 3 miles east, but we were going to Smart and Final coming back, a store that's no longer there but has moved to somewhere else, still in business. But she talked about Whitefront, and I said, "Was there really a store called Whitefront?" And she told me this story in the 2000s. So, like, maybe almost 20 years ago, more. I think more than 20 years ago, maybe like in the late 90s. Whitefront store. So, this is the 60s, not exactly the 70s yet. I think the late 60s. I'm just looking at these guys. Like this guy looks like he's just like superimposed, doesn't he? Doesn't he look like he's like wearing a modern day shirt and khakis? He does, doesn't he? He looks like a dude from 2005 or so, and he's in this 1960s shot. I hope I'm not looking at a Photoshop image there. I don't know. That looks strange. I just saw that right now. It's like, is that kid like from the year 2005 and he was just put in there? Anyway, that's the store that was one of the first stores that was no longer there. I doubt. I mean, these days, the cancel cultures would be like, "Ah, what a bunch of idiots! Let's cancel the store. It's white front. Where's black front?" It's like I don't know. But anyway, it's just, these big department stores. They were just there for a while. I like the design of it though. What would they call it these days? They would have to find a synonymous word for white. Keto E, Keto E front, Shido E front. I forgot what white is. Blanco front. Call it Blanco front because Blanco is Spanish for white, but obviously white front wouldn't work these days. So let's go to the next store. This one I'm very familiar with, slightly, but I'll tell more about it.
Easter sale with dozens of fabulous bargains, like these terrific Easter party dresses now at a Zodi's special purchase price of $9.99 and $10.99. Lovely pastels, sheer and fully lined, soft prints or flocked flounces, puff short or flutter sleeves, empire or regular waist with satin ribbon and lace trims. Toddler and little girl sizes are Zodi's sale priced at only $9.99 each. Girl sizes are at the Zodi's special price of only $10.99 each. Get your share of the bargains. Everybody saves at Zodi's.
Zodi's, fucking Zodi's. Now, I do remember there being a Zodi's where the Rite Aid is now in near Montebello, and I can't remember much except that you would have the dining area. I mean, brown and orange is a very popular color of the late 70s and early 80s. It had this sort of modern wood grain look to everything. I mean, that's why the Atari had the wood grain look. Your favorite stereos, the TVs had wood grain, the balsa wood walls that you would line your house with in the 70s. So orange and brown. And I distinctly remember the dining area. There were always dining areas. I'm trying to think now. Yeah, there's still dining areas like at Target, but they have a Starbucks hybrid. So it's Starbucks, instead of like buying pizza and popcorn and sitting in the dining area. That's where I met my blind date one time. Instead of that, you would get like Starbucks. So in this era of time, you would just order a hot dog or a pizza or a hamburger or a sandwich, and they had these orange leather booths with the brown with these sort of Western sort of legs, this decoration around the seats and boots to make it look. I mean, try to imagine orange, like either translucent orange lampshades over light bulbs hanging overhead, with orange leather, puffy leather, and brown wooden booths. Everything had an orange, dark, muddy look to it, like you were in an old saloon. That was the 1970s. Obviously, this damn place went out of fucking business. Um, it's not here in California, I'll tell you that. I haven't seen anything like that in a long time. The last time I saw any hint of Zodi's was in my senior year of high school. There was a shopping cart, an orange shopping cart with the Zodi's logo, and was just kind of sitting there on the edge of the schoolyard. That's when people could skip school and run down the hill and jump with their friends Dopey and Peanut and get into some trouble there. Now let's look at something that I don't remember the way it was, but every time I look at the interior of this, it takes me back to when I was a baby, even before that. Doesn't it feel like you stepped into another universe? Look at all this stuff. Look at all these things. Now, this is from the 90s. I'm more familiar with with sort of the 1990s timeout tunnel with the red and the silver and the neon lights that were round. So they were like these round tunnels that would go vertically into the tunnel, and you would see all these arcades kind of on one side. Now, what you're looking at is the modern version, but let me show you pictures of the retro. Here we go. That's more like it. Yeah, let's check out this yellow interior. Look at the floors, those vinyl floors, and all these different weird shaped arcades. It's like you're in a parallel fucking universe. Check that out. Look at all this. And this wasn't even like I was like learning how to walk on two legs. Here's the tunnel design. Now, this is not the 90s one I'm more familiar with, but every time if I had a big house, I would want to design the house to look like this. Look at this. Like, can you imagine if you were an inmate in a psych ward? Like, would this not drive you mad? But look at all these colors, the blues, the reds, the yellows. Like, I try to imagine that these colors are more primary looking because the red looks a little faded. There was a Timeout Tunnel 80s discovered like a couple of years ago, and it looked just like this. It was so amazing. Look at all this. Just take a look. Just take it in, the atmosphere. Here's a less remarkable store, but it has some of the great gimmicks. I mean, smaller, more compact, but look at all this stuff. Like, can you recognize any of this? There's a baseball pinball thing over there. Look at that chair. Very 70s and 80s. Look at that. Look at that. Look at that. Oh my God. Look at that. Let's get a closer look at this section here. It looks like the interior of the Starship Enterprise if the TV show had worked out in the 1970s, you know what I mean? Like, look at all this. It looks like Captain Kirk's ship. Look at this stuff. I mean, if I was in, I would just faint from like thinking, oh my God, did I travel back in time and I'm not supposed to be here? And that I'm fading away and shit. Like, holy crap. Look at all this. There's so much there. There's a rocking, you got to have one of those rocking horses. This entrance is like something out of Let's Make a Deal or The Price is Right. Here's another tunnel. Now, this is like, you see these sparkly ones here. I think this is like asteroids or some shit, or space war. Amazing. Now, the thing about Timeout, I think it still exists, but Namco owns it. And the last ones I remember, the last arcade I remember was by my house. And it's basically like if you go to a square plot area, there's no tunnel. It's just called timeout. There's no fucking tunnel, right? There's no fucking tunnel. So therefore, it's more of a conventional arcade. It looks like shit. I don't care if Pac-Man is on the damn logo of the store. It doesn't look like this anymore. This is gone. I missed this. Where is this at? All right, let's go on to another store I'm familiar with, but is no longer here.
This Christmas, you can find quality Zenith products at low Gemco prices. Like this 19-inch custom series color TV with remote control. Gemco price just $379.
Old-fashioned TV.
With this 14-day programmable VHS video cassette recorder by Zenith. Buy now and receive wireless remote control free. Your cost just $479.
That's too much. Now, I do believe that Gemco, well, let's see, what's there now? I think it's a car dealership. A lot of car dealerships now have replaced Gemco. But I think this store was shit canned in the 80s, 90s, probably the mid to late 80s. My second sister, who was no longer with me, no longer with us on this earth, she worked at Gemco, and it was, I think, I try to remember how young I was. It was, I think I was like 5 or 6 or 7 years old. And this store was another, they used to have Gemco, and then there was another one, right? But they had to compete with Target, with Kmart, right? With Whitefront. Whitefront's gone. Zodi's. There were a lot of big department stores. I don't know what it was, but it was like the onslaught of department stores, and only 1 or 2 were going to survive. So my sister worked there. She did like cash register or whatever. She worked like until like in the afternoon to late night, maybe around 9 or 10. I don't know. But this was another store that I used to pass by. My sister would work there. It looked like any other store. I mean, there was just so many of them now. But Target has replaced all of them, I think. And here's the next one. I think I'll remember this one even more. Oh yeah, Fedco. This is like a membership. So you had to have a membership, just like Costco. There's Fedco. So before Costco, you had Fedco, and you had to have a membership card to get into the place. And I do remember it was one of the first times I saw the original Legend of Zelda game, the 1986 Legend of Zelda game in store. Actually, it came out in 87. So even though the Zelda was born in 86, it came out in America in 87. So look at all these people here. A lot of things here. So it would function as a supermarket, as a jewelry section, some automotive things, clothing, mattresses, well, not mattresses, blankets, blenders, fryers, air fryers, anything and everything. Magazines, toys, everything. Everything was at fucking Fedco. Yep, everything was at Fedco. Look at all this, the printers. Look at all these old computers. Look at all this shit. I remember this part of the video. But it's closing down. All right, fuck that security guard. We could do this video without him. We don't need to be in the store anymore. But I do remember the sign being more obviously like a fudge brown with that sort of square font. Like it's a squarish font. Now, Fedco actually lived a long time up until, I think, through my high school graduation. Because I distinctly remember Mario Kart 64 being in the store. So what ended up happening was it went out of business. And if you looked up the 1992 Fedco, you're going to find a certain race of people looting the damn store. I mean, a certain race of people looting the fucking store. Just so the cancel cultures don't come at me, just look at the videotape. You find it on YouTube and you tell me if that's CGI or if that's AI, okay? You tell me if that's artificial intelligence tweaking that video because I don't think so. Oh no, you couldn't fake that shit. What happened in the riots was bullshit. But it was a fun store. It was large. It was wide. Books, anything you could think of. Books, potted plants, blankets, towels, refrigerators, groceries. Everything was there. Electronics. I remember exactly what the electronics section was. And it was to the right of the groceries. And it was to, like, if you were walking into the store from the entrances, you go all, like, you would have to walk about 60 to 100, maybe 50 or 60 feet, about 60 to 80 feet to your left, and you would get to the electronics section with the video games. But it'd be sort of like northwest, and next to that were the groceries. I kind of missed those days. There was this lady security guard, nice lady, but what a different time. I think my oldest sister met her boyfriend there because I think they both worked at fucking Fedco. All right, here's the next one. Here's the next store. See if you remember this one.
This commercial or I'll blow myself up. Now go get this. A complete Fisher audio system, 100 watts of channel, integrated amp, double cassette deck, quartz AM/FM tuner, turntable and speakers, all for $798.31. Are you listening? Or the Mondo system, 150 watts of channel, tuner, linear tracking turntable, double cassette deck, graphic equalizer, digital compact disc, and speakers. And that's $1992.10 at Federated. You find it all at Federated.
The Federated Group. Oh my God, what a time this was. Shadoe Stevens. I remember Shadoe Stevens more on the Hollywood Squares in the '80s, but yeah, he used to be Crazy Fred Rated, or whatever his name was. Yeah, that was a different time. Of course, that store is gone, and the store that replaced that one is gone, and the store that replaced that one is gone. I'll get more into detail, probably not in this video, but I'll talk more about it later. But the Federated Group was near Pasadena, and if you remember those, I always remember those diagonal wood panels. Let me see if I can find it. These ones here, you would see like these diagonal wood panels lined the sort of the, excuse me, the strip mall, the exterior mall. So you'd see these panels either go this way or the other way, but they would line around above the entrances to the stores, and you would put different signs, and that's the sign you would see on top of it. So the Federated Group was the first like electronic appliance only store that I would remember in my memory. Now it's all about Best Buy. Best Buy has conquered all, baby. It's it. All about Best Buy or Staples or Office Depot. But of course, you have TVs. I don't know if Crazy Gideon's is still around. And you know, Crazy Gideon's, you stock him deep and you sell him cheap. But it's sad that it's gone. I don't know what more I could have done. I'm not sure when this place closed. Probably around the beginning of the 90s, I think. I think it closed around the beginning of the 90s. Now here's another sort of, this is a more kind of a video store than it is a electronic appliance store. Thank you, Tina Turner.
Melts vinyl.
Yep.
Tina Turner, private dancer.
Available at all Music Plus locations.
You can bet one thing, Tina Turner was proud to be a member of Music Plus, and we were proud to have known her. So, rest in peace, Tina, and Music Plus. Now, Music Plus, as far back as I can remember, it used to be what's there now instead of Music Plus. I mean, they bulldozed my old strip mall and replaced it with new buildings. Big Five Sporting Goods, I guess. Yeah, so Music Plus was what eventually replaced by Blockbuster Video, replaced by Redbox and Netflix and Target. So Music Plus was that place you went to get your favorite 60-minute, 90-minute cassettes, vinyl records, VHS tape movies, TV set tapes of TV shows. What else? Candies, gummies, What else would you get? What else would you get at Music Plus? All kinds of shit. Music, movies, maybe some magazines. I don't remember. I remember Tower Records a little bit more of its content than Music Plus. But you would go to get all kinds of movies, and it was great. I think it was a rental store, I think. Pretty sure it was a rental store. But yeah, I do remember the signs being gray, like a battleship gray with white letters with Music Plus. So, what a great time that was. Let's see if I have something else to share. Let's find out why. Boop, boop, boop. All right, let's find out.
Did you ever wonder how we have such low prices on top quality products? As the largest paint manufacturer in the West, we ship directly to all our stores, so there's no middleman. We buy name brand merchandise in great volume. That's how we can pass the savings on to you.
Yeah.
Now you can profit when you come in and shop at your local Standard Brands Paint and Decorating Center.
Yeah. Aren't you glad that commercial didn't come out? So Standard Brands was, I remember it used to be across the street from East Los Angeles College in the 80s, and it's not there anymore. It has been replaced by the Carl's Jr. But Standard Brands paint, it was one whole store for paint. So all your favorite paints. Now you go to Home Depot, you'll find some good paint over there. But you had paints. You might have had some art project or canvases, art project kind of paint brushes and things, carpets. They would just sell anything that could be related to home improvement. Something simple, wallpaper, rugs, carpets, acrylic paint, all kinds of paint. Just that one-stop shop. I don't know if they spent poorly. I don't know what happened. Some of these stores might still be around in one form or another, but not the way it used to be. No way. Let's see. I might have time for one more thing to show you, but yeah, this mine would not sell. I mean, Ronald McDonald can barely sell hamburgers as it is, but I don't remember much about it. It's just that it was there.
Always an improvement. So when I have questions about how to do stuff, I'm not going to go to a store the size of a small landmass. I mean, people aren't exactly dying to help you there.
Huh.
I just know if somebody could give me some answers, I could do anything. Maybe not.
Builder's Emporium, where shopping for your project isn't a project. This week, get a 10-gallon wet-dry shop vac on sale for $52.99.
And gone. That's the going out of business sale. $52.99. You probably have to pay more money, close to $100 these days, for a wet vacuum cleaner. Yeah, this looks like it's from the early 90s. I'm going to say that's 91 or so, maybe. Oh, yes. This looks like the one by my house. What is it now? It's a hospital. It's a hospital for, it's a clinic. It's a hospital for people for the elderly. And it's by the Gold Line, Metro Gold Line. But if it were here today, you would get off the Gold Line and go to Builder's Emporium. And I don't know how the service was when you compare this to Home Depot, or Orchid Supply Hardware, if that's still around. Well, this is it. This was the Wicks Furniture and Builder's Emporium. And I just remember there were different, there was a little bit of everything. But you take Home Depot, right? And you cut it like down 60%. The store itself was like 40% of what Home Depot was. Home Depot was much bigger. I think people it was about taking up more space, having a hardware, having a truck access, large supplies, large planks of wood. I mean, lots of lumber. That's what it was about. That's what it's about now. Lots of lumber. And I never remember seeing a lot of lumber here. I didn't see much of a gardening section either. But, there was a little bit of everything. Hammers, nails, pliers, drills, power tools, the paint, so maybe some paint tools, a little bit of everything, but not a whole lot. If there was, I mean, like I said, in Foresight, you think, okay, it's organized, it's got some firewood, it's got a little bit of gardening, but it was like a miniature version of what Home Depot was or is. And Home Depot is sort of the champion of this. So as we wave goodbye to Builder's Emporium, that place stayed for the longest time in the 2000s, and then it was replaced by the hospital. Let's now go into a story for veterans for Memorial Day. All right. So I'll tell you a little bit about my cousin Danny. I don't know if my cousin Danny's still alive. He has what is it he told me? He had 2 fractured legs and a broken knee. Something like that. I don't know. My dad once said, how does the man walk? It was my dad's cousin, who at the time I remembered him in the 90s, when my grandmother died, he was in his 60s. Late 50s, early 60s. He looked like Uncle Fester with hair, right? Oh, how are you doing? How are you doing, mijo? Yes, I'm your dad's cousin. Yes, it's good to see you. Oh, I'm sorry your grandmother died. Okay. And his mother was in her 90s. She died like not too long after my grandmother died. She was in her 90s. My second cousin Danny lived with his mother for the rest of her life until she died. Oh yes, my mother died. Oh, you know. Anyway, so weird, creepy cousin. But how do I say this? His father was in, I think, the Korean War. 60 years ago was 30s. Yeah. If cousin Danny was born in the 1930s, I don't think he'd still be alive. He'd be in his 90s now. He would be too old. But he would have been born in 1930 something. And his father must have been in his 20s or 30s. So, no. Would that be right? He could have been in World War II. He might have been. That would be my Uncle Gus. Gustavo was Danny's father. So he might have been in the World War II. He might have been in the Korean War. I'm not sure which one. But I'm trying to think of what was going on. Or was that his uncle? I'm getting people mixed up. That's right. Aloysius. Huicho. Uncle Huicho. Uncle Huicho, as we call him. Uncle Huicho and his father, Gustavo. Huicho was the one that wrestled bears all the time for a sport, and he would get in fights with the police. I was like, oh, Huicho's at it again. We got to go arrest him. But Huicho's brother, Gustavo, Danny's father, served in the war. And he died. And how did he die? Injuries? Was it a scathe on the battlefield? Oh, no. This happened after he got home. His wife was having an affair with the neighbor, and so they poisoned his drink, and Gustavo, died from being poisoned. It was just a stupid plot. Anyway, that's what I wanted to share. It wasn't much of a story, was it? But thank you to my great uncle Gustavo for serving. But yeah, that sucks. There's just a lot of horror stories in my family. I don't have many military in my family. My youngest sister served in the Marines. She's a veteran. But thank you to everybody for their service, and thank you to your service. And remember your loved ones and those who haven't served, those who died. Just remember them. Remember those who died. Anyway, I gotta take off. I gotta eat something. If you like this video, you know what to do. And happy Memorial Day 2023. And let me know with your likes and your views if you want to see more stores that are not here anymore.